Hi, how's it going? In this video we're going to talk about why physical media matters. Why is it an important thing in an age of digital videos and streaming and, YouTube compression and the like? Well, gee, I wonder if I had a plethora of examples to kind of go with. I kind of have a strong contender as to why physical media matters in so many regards against streaming and other forms. Even if you're just getting a DVD, like the most basic version of a film, is consistent physical presence. You have it. You can watch it whenever. You don't have to rely on a streaming service. You don't have to pay to watch it each time. You don't have to rent it or buy it digitally and then have it either deleted from your library or permanently altered. You have an original version to some degree, hopefully remastered version too, because the qualities of a physical media disc, a DVD, a Blu-ray, a 4K UHD, which is still technically a Blu-ray, allows you so many different variabilities. Like, for example, let's go with Empire of the Ants. This one in particular, this is a Kino Cult release that came out, last year, I believe. This is a 1977 eco-horror film. This is the kind of stuff you won't find very easily for streaming services unless it's one that's dedicated to obscure, horror films. This one being an eco-horror film as well, you also get artwork of variability here. Wow, look at that. You get alternate posters. If you like artwork, sleeves are cool as well if you get the American releases, because they're usually very thin cases, but it is what it is. But on a release like this, you also get two audio commentaries. You get one with a film historian and a filmmaker who's also a film historian, and then one with the producer and director, Bert I. Gordon, Mr. Big himself. These are the kind of things that I feel like I probably should have chosen a different option, because it almost feels like it's limited in what that disc has. Give me something else. Well, here's one. In and Out from 1977, a Kino Lorber release. Again, the Kino Lorber releases. This one is actually a UHD. It's a 2-disc set. You get the Blu-ray, you get the 4K UHD. You also get a selection of special features, as it notes there, including, but not limited to, an audio commentary by screenwriter Paul Rudnick, moderated by film historian/author Lee Gambin, who is a friend of mine. Ins and Outs, interview of director Frank Oz, dancing with performers, interview of composer Mark Scheinman, and a bunch of interview clips that are vintage, plus behind-the-scenes footage and trailer. Do you get any of that stuff on a streaming platform? For me, this film is kind of in that important echelon, because it's a, it's both queer representation, but also a great cast, a great director, Frank Oz, and it's on 4K, so you're going to get it in the best visuals that you can possibly get it in, which includes Dolby Vision. That's rarity for Kino Lorber. They usually don't do Dolby Vision. It's a 4K scan from the original camera negative. It's preserving film history in such a beautiful way, with a strong, healthy bit rate that just makes the film, just brings it to life in a completely new way. For me in particular, this release features a commentary by a friend of mine, like I mentioned, Lee Gambin, who had passed away last year, and that's something that I had put a lot of effort into finding every single physical media release that he had contributed to. And for me, that's another reason that I kind of value the fact that I collect physical media, the fact that even though I collect them more as a collecting habit, but also because I just love watching all kinds of movies, even ones I don't like, I might still have on Blu-ray, because, you know what, maybe someone else will want to watch it, or maybe I just want to put on a piece of shit movie and just be like, man, remember this bad movie? Good times. But with something like this, it gives you more presidency. You can just watch it whenever you want, and that's kind of the main kicker, strong bit rates, audio commentary, special features, various audio options as well. This one is mostly limited to just the one audio track by the looks of it, but it does have English subtitles. So that's also something you get. You won't get AI-generated subtitles that are presented on a streaming service. You're going to get something that someone's actually put in the work for. Again, a lot of these discs will have varying languages, will have all kinds of dubs and subs and whatnot. I've got one like this, which is Beyond the Door, an Italian Italian Exorcist ripoff. It's more like a Rosemary's Baby ripoff, but it is considered a Exorcist ripoff film. This actually has two different versions of the film. Actually, it doesn't have two. It just has the one, the uncut English export version, The Devil Within Her. Isn't that just wonderful? And a slew of special features. Like, this is just stuff, and this is an all-region disc as well. The Blu-ray is region A, but the 4K is all regions. There's so much contrast between these two releases. Like, I have much more personal attribution to both. Like, this one, a friend of mine did a commentary for. This one I bought because I love this style of cinema. But also, I actually watched it for the first time with one of the people who worked on this release, because they had a presentation where it was a Monster Fest a couple years ago, and they just screened beyond the door, and just that kind of a thing with a crowd. And I now have the opportunity to just completely relive that, plus getting a wide range of special features, including an audio commentary with the director and producer, as well as plenty of film historians, moderated by people, one of the stars and filmmaker Scott Spiegel, archival introduction. You get an interview with a whole bunch of the cast and crew, and it just kind of goes on and on and on. A bunch of archival featurettes, a bunch of new featurettes and new commentaries. There's again, optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. Such a great thing with, and it's not with every single form of physical media, but with so many of them, is you can just get, what's the word? They, a lot of the time, treat their audiences with respect. They will go out of their way to give you, hopefully, as many audio options and visual styles as possible, and they'll put in the, hard of hearing subtitles, because a lot of people these days will watch films with subtitles even if they're not hard of hearing. I personally don't, but it depends on just what I'm feeling like. But again, I might be watching Asian cinema, which is obviously not in English, and most of the time I don't want to go with the dub. I want to go with the subtitle track. I want to watch a bunch of Bruce Lee films, and you know what? I don't really want to hear the bad English dub for his early films. I want to hear, the Mandarin or the Cantonese. And lo and behold, the greatest hits Bruce Lee set, or the Arrow Video releases. There's the greatest hits Bruce Lee set is from Criterion, but Arrow has also done a bunch of releases, so you get different countries, you get different transfers, different restorations, different special features, and there's just so much to kind of grasp onto it. What a contrast. Sometimes you'll get physical media that will give you versions of films that you cannot watch anywhere else, or just anywhere on streaming. Take Will Smith's I Am Legend. The alternate version is a much superior film to the theatrical cut, but the theatrical cut is basically the only readily available version online. It took me until I got the Blu-ray to actually watch the alternate version, and it is so much better than what the original cut has. Another example is Betty Blue, which this is the second site release, which comes with two different versions, the director's cut and the original theatrical cut, plus a making of and screen test for the lead actress. The original theatrical cut of this is 121 minutes long, which you might be able to stream somewhere, like maybe the Criterion channel. I doubt Netflix would have Betty Blue. But this disc also has the director's cut, which is 185 minutes long. 185 minutes. That's a whole different movie. It's like watching Lord of the Rings. You get the opportunity to watch the extended cuts or the theatrical cuts. You can watch them on Blu-ray and DVD on 4K. You can watch them with different color gradients, because that's also a thing, whether that's by choice or not. It helps to do research. But it's just one of those things as well, to just be able to have these in your hands and be able to just watch them whenever. You have an internet blackout, bada bing, bada boom. Here's your answer. You got dumbass kids who can't find anything to watch on Netflix or Disney Plus. Easy peasy. Whip out a DVD. Show them something cool. Show them something completely different. My parents, for example, have a lot of streaming services that they subscribe to. And my mum only recently found out that there's a saying that in a time it takes you to find a film on Netflix, you could have gone to Blockbuster, chosen 3 films, and gone home and already started watching one of them. And whilst that's, a more millennial saying, because, we don't really have Blockbuster or Video Easy anymore, they kind of got killed off by the streaming service, there's still this essence to it where it's like, yeah, there's one whole thing where you can just go, and instead of relying on an algorithm to pick out the exact same films every single time for you, you can go onto a shelf, you can go into a store. In Australia, you got JB Hi-Fi, Play Music DVD. There's a variety of stores that you can go into for physical media to just pick up one and be like, wow, that looks interesting. Oh, that's what it says on the back. That sounds interesting. I'm going to take this home with me. Probably buy it first, don't steal. Or maybe pirate, I don't know. But this is better. It's one of those things for me where I like to grab whatever film I want to watch. Maybe I have a list, like I, in October, like to participate in what's called Hooptober, which is basically a letterboxd thing where you grab 31 horror films and you go by someone else's list of, hey, these are the types of films you need to watch. You need to vary from different countries, you need to vary from different decades, you need to vary in different languages, however it be. And usually a good prowess of that is finding accessible films that you can get to, you know? However, I like to make sure that all the films that I'm going to watch, I happen to have on physical, because it gives me the incentive to watch a film that maybe I haven't seen that I have on my shelf, just sitting there waiting, collecting dust. But I can watch that, I can put it on and be like, hey, shit, this film has like 3 different cuts. Which one should I watch? I chose Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice the other day, which is part of an Arrow video box set. And that has 2 different cuts, an international cut and a US theatrical cut. I didn't actually know that the US cut was longer because it includes 1 extra scene, whereas the international cut doesn't. Either way, I still watched the international cut, and I really enjoyed the film. Is it absolute cinema, as the kids call it these days? No, but it's a bloody fun movie to watch, you know? A bunch of kids that are absolutely nuts go around killing adults who are also absolutely nuts. Can you go wrong? It's just that kind of thing of just, for my main kicker is just accessibility. Like, sure, it's costly. You also need to have all the tech right, you need to have the TV, you need to have the sound system, whether it be a sound bar or a 5.1 or a 7.1 system, Dolby Atmos compatible, Dolby Vision compatible. There's a lot of technical specs that you kind of got to think about, but at the same time, most people might not give a shit. You know, my mum's happy to watch DVDs of movies because she just wants to watch the film or wants to watch the show. She doesn't care about the actual quality of the image, as long as, you know, you can see people's faces well enough. And she, a lot of the time, will watch this on a portable DVD player where it won't matter. But then you put it on a 75-inch TV, you kind of notice the difference. But at the same time, you want to just kind of prize the idea of having these physical versions of films. When Crocodile Dundee got its encore cut on 4K recently this year, a lot of people were critical because both it was the US cut, the non-theatrical cut in Australia, so it's the shorter version by like 10 or so minutes, and then it was cut down even further to appease to modern standards, which is disrespectful to art in general. You shouldn't cut off Van Gogh's ear just because he looks a bit weird. It doesn't work. So what I did was I actively went out and I bought the DVD copy because it was the only version that had the original Australian print. Is it the best looking DVD? No, but it's the film, you know, and it's original intent, and that's what I want to watch. Whether I like the film or not, it doesn't matter. It's just the fact that I can have it, and that my family can watch it. You know, if my mum wants to watch Crocodile Dundee, if my dad wants to watch it, they can. It's there. And you know what? They did. They did watch it. They didn't watch the sequel, surprisingly, even though I did actually buy that as well, because the Blu-ray of that was unaltered, but it was a great 4K restoration. And so it's just one of those factors where it's like, there are so many things that you can get out of a physical version of the film, from unaltered versions of films, remastered version with a solid bitrate, because you won't have to worry about streaming compression. You won't have to worry about audio compression unless it happens to be a bad audio mix. Not everything's perfect. There's various region codes as well that you should be aware of, but there's different quality of formats. You get 4K UHD, you get Blu-ray, you get DVD. You can get remastered in 4K onto a Blu-ray disc, even though that's not a, you know, size format for a Blu-ray disc anyway. It doesn't matter. It's compressed down or 2K standard, that's perfectly fine. As long as it looks nice, it'll obviously look better on a UHD, but that's its own thing. You know, then you get the extras of, you know, Dolby Vision, HDR10, and the Dolby Atmos, and what was the other one? There was DTX. There was another one that oh no, HDR10 Plus. There are so many encoding things, but these things are all available, hardly available on streaming unless you pay a lot, and it's still going to be compressed to hell. Like, I would never pay for a 4K Netflix subscription because it's just going to be compressed. Apple TV, maybe, because why not? But also, let's be honest, I don't think Apple TV has tiers. They probably do. It's been a while since I've subscribed, and usually when I do, I'm trying to watch a science show or space show, because they've got that one about For All Mankind. Terrific. But that's a thing that needs to be on physical. It does have a Blu-ray release, but it ain't great. But the amount of things that you can also get, you can dive into a film to such an extent. There are huge box set collector's editions of these films that will feature so much variety in terms of special features, with video essays, written essays, audio commentaries. And this is audio commentaries either from the people who worked on the film initially, the directors, the producers, cinematographers, the actors, or it could just be film historians and film critics and people who just have podcasts who are allowed to do audio commentaries for some reason. As long as they have the information and the input and can give you something new and like revitalize your experience for it. Like one of my favorite films, which I'm wearing the shirt of, Evil Dead 2, I watched it recently, and that's a film that I have several different releases of. From a Book of the Dead edition, I've got a tin version, which has the open matte version. Did you even know the film had an open matte? It's the whole screen. Who'd have thought? It doesn't look great in open matte, but it's still fun to watch it, especially when you've watched that film so many times. I have a Blu-ray, I have a 4K, I've got a Steelbook which has all the films. So many variations of it, and when I watched it recently, I was like, I've seen this so many times, and I was watching the DVD in open matte, and I wasn't liking the audio, so I chose a different audio option, which was the audio commentary. The audio commentary featured director Sam Raimi, it featured the co-writer Scott Spiegel, it featured actor Bruce Campbell, and the Greg Nicotero who did the special effects. It was just these four guys talking about their experience making this film, and it gives you so much more life to the film as well, because you can watch it and you can experience all these new things just by listening to people talk about it while you're watching these images. Or, chuck it on in the background while you're doing chores or something, like, it can just be something that's on, and you can always just put it on. You can have TV shows that you love, whether it be, the 90s sitcoms like Friends or Frasier or Seinfeld, or classics like The Golden Girls or Twilight Zone. All these things are readily available in physical media, and you can just put it on and just have it there and watch it or not watch it. It can be background noise. It doesn't matter. But for the most part, you get this quality to it that you just don't get for streaming, and you got to find all the right streaming services. All of them have, this streaming service only has the first 3 seasons of The Twilight Zone, but the rest are over there. And then, they're actually in a different country, so I need to get a VPN, and it. So many headaches. I feel like I'm trying to advertise and pitch you on this stuff. But it's just a really fun factor to just have these things readily available, and in different formats. I even had some VHS and some Laserdisc. I can't watch the Laserdisc, but I have the VHS and I could watch them. I'm not planning to, but I have them. I have original versions of Star Wars, shit that you just can't get in high definition most of the time unless you get the Star Wars restoration stuff, which looks great. And it's just fun to just be able to look around and like you're in a library. I mean, if you're big on books, it's a library of movies. It's a collection of art. You can walk around, pick and choose what you want to watch, what you want to hear. Anyway, it's important. It matters. We should keep it alive because it's preservation. All these things are a physical restoration, a physical presence of a film or a TV show that keeps it in just the knowledge that it exists. There are so many films that you would never have heard of if not for physical media that will most likely never go to a streaming service, and if they are, they're probably heavily buried because the ones that are really expensive that the streaming services want to push are the ones you'll see and the ones you'll keep watching. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. What are your thoughts on physical media? You love it? You hate it? I don't know why you would hate it, but especially when I'm on a physical media channel, it'd be weird if you hated it, but I don't know, to each their own. There are benefits for streaming, there are benefits for, physical, but physical is always going to be the way to go. Anyway, that's all. See you next time. Adios.